A new report in the New York Times is claiming that the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, is actually running the shadow cabinet, at least when it comes to the Department of Justice. Well, wait a minute. Where does that leave Attorney General Pam Bondi? As nothing more than a figurehead. Of course. Of course. Now, the Times spoke with 20 current and former staffers about Bondi's first few months in her position, and reports that Bondi essentially sees her role as that of a surrogate, a faithful executor, and a high-volume messenger, compelled to cede ground to empowered players in the West Wing. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. And of course, one of those players, this guy. Now, while she had a reputation as a hard-charging prosecutor, as Attorney General of Florida, since taking the role of the nation's chief legal officer, she has adopted a, quote, performative approach and demonstrated a willingness to execute White House directives, the Times reports. So basically, you have the White House that is directly controlling the Department of Justice through Stephen Miller, with Bondi acting as the pretty face. Oh, great. Which kind of fits, of course, Trump's MO. I mean, he chooses people based on how well they look on television, and apparently Bondi looked pretty well. Now, the report notes that this entire situation is, be surprised here, okay? Well, once again, the Trump administration, this is a noticeable departure from the stance taken by previous heads of the Justice Department, who focused on the department's independence from the presidency. Well, we do not have a Justice Department that is at all separate now from the presidency. In fact, according to Elizabeth Oyer, the department's former top pardon lawyer, who happened to have gotten fired after refusing to restore the gun ownership rights to Mel Gibson. Yes, that's right. She told the newspaper the decisions are being made at the White House and then they're being pushed down to the Department of Justice, which is very, very atypical. It feels like she's just performing a part. She is like an actor in a way. Big surprise. Big surprise. Pam Bondi is basically what this administration thinks of women in roles that are, have power, right? Which in the fact that they don't really have real power. They're just eye candy, while there's a man behind the scenes that is actually running the show. Citing current and former Trump aides, the Times states that it was clear from the start that Mr. Miller, who's not a lawyer, by the way, but he sure doesn't really play one on TV, okay, would exercise control inside the department. You know what this makes me think of? The Deep State. Deep State Stephen Miller. It's a new name. I mean, at least it kind of sounds like Deep State Shadow Cabinet stuff, okay? It's crazy. That said, when Miller makes a decision, the details are reportedly discussed with Bondi, as well as Trump's two former defense lawyers, Todd Blanche and Emil Bove, whom the president appointed to the Justice Department and who help run the day-to-day operations. Edward Whalen, a conservative former Justice Department official, told the paper that I can't recall a attorney general who seemed willing to be subordinate to White House staffers. Well, hey, things are different now, okay? We got Trump. But here's the thing, though, about this. So obviously Pam Bondi not only knows her place, but you can also say that generally she agrees with Stephen Miller. So, I mean, if that's not an indictment against her, that at least should be seen that way by normal people. Because MAGA ain't normal. Okay? Normal people are going to see that and be like, she agrees with Stephen Miller. Oh, boy, that's ugly. That's real ugly. Now, according to officials who spoke with the Times, Bondi, while she has been consulted on key decisions, including how to respond to a federal judge's order to return immigrants deported to El Salvador with no due process, which is illegal, she does not appear to have played a major role in creating overall strategy, focusing on aligning her department with the Trump game plan and framing attacks on opponents. Yes. Now, while she apparently loves her position, is totally fine with being Stephen Miller's bitch, okay, there were some tensions early on, okay, and guess what happened there? I'll tell you. So Stephen Miller was not happy with one of her nominations. That's Chad Chronister, a Florida county sheriff, to lead the DEA. So she picks this guy, and Stephen Miller's like, I don't like this guy. Get rid of him. So what happened? She got rid of him. I mean, look, yes, Chronister ended up withdrawing from consideration. And actually, it's more like she got lured, or he got lured, I should say. Because you had the right wing that raged at reports that he had arrested a pastor that violated COVID-19 lockdown regulations and had held a church service. The Times reports that Trump was miffed, asking advisors why Bondi would have even recommended this guy. Yes, recommended this guy who actually was following the law on COVID and the lockdowns. Yeah, of course. And look, once he was out, though, apparently everything just kind of smoothed itself over because not only is Bondi good at going on Fox News to attack Donald Trump's political enemies, she also sucks up in cabinet meetings and basically knows how to play Trump. So congratulations, I guess. Now, going back to Loomer, she's not happy about any of this. Now, she hates Pam Bondi. And so it's really funny to see these people fight, okay? In fact, on a recent podcast appearance, Loomer said that Pam Bondi is a liar. We cannot trust Pam Bondi anymore. She's on Fox News more than she does her job. Hey, joke's on you. She's not even doing her job. She never was. She was picked to not do her job, just to listen to what Stephen Miller does. So there you go. I doubt that'll make her feel better, though. I mean, even though she probably does like Stephen Miller. Look, here's the thing. About her job, it seems pretty secure. As I mentioned, Trump really likes her because she knows how to stay in his favor. And the latest example of that is, remember, Pam Bondi is the one who signed off on the bribe, okay, given to him by the Qatari royal family. That luxury Boeing 747-8, okay, the basically the flying whorehouse, all right, that Trump is like, oh, I want it. I'd be stupid not to take that. Okay, but it violates the emolument clause. But then again, I guess it would be stupid for him not to take it, because there's nothing bad that's going to happen to Donald Trump for taking it. Look, this is an obvious bribe, okay? It is illegal. It would violate the emoluments clause, but you would have to have a justice system that would enforce it. And guess who's running the justice system? The Justice Department. Stephen frickin' Miller. You think he's going to go, oh, Donald Trump, you shouldn't take that for an emolument? No. Come on. Come on. And look, during Trump's first administration, they tried to go after him for emoluments, right? Didn't work. And not only that, but again, considering how emoluments actually work, all you would have to do is just go and get permission from Congress to take this gift, right? And Republicans in Congress will likely rubber stamp it anyway. That's it. All right. So they're not going to say no. There you go. So Donald Trump gets a free flying whorehouse, and that's it. And everybody's just supposed to be okay with it because the people that are in power are totally okay with this corruption. And look, Bondi, as I mentioned when I talked about this the other day, she was a lobbyist for the Qatari government. She's making $115,000 in consulting fees. 6 figures. So, yeah, she knows how to bribe Donald Trump because she was getting bribed by the same people. Because, of course. So, yes, that is why Pam Bondi's job is very, very secure. Now, as I mentioned, too, Stephen Miller is totally fine with this arrangement because she defers to him, but also gives him cover. Okay? It is the perfect setup for everyone involved. That is, of course, with one major exception, the American people.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.